technical difficulties. I'm back. But I'm gonna probably take a second before we get started. Okay, it's funny when why am I typing instead of talking? But I was about to type that he had to take a bathroom break, and it's like, why would I type it instead of say it? Um. Anyways, so he'll get here. It was just a pee. It was a wee pee. What? I'll be right. Okay, y'all. We're having a goofy kind of night. We're having a goofy ball, if you will. Um, and usually when I stream, I'm not so goddamn distracted. But my friends are goofballs and cutie pies, and they're distracting. So here we are, and so are they. Welcome to the evening. Welcome to the midnight morning. Thank you. You are too. Um, okay, so I had these out, but I asked someone what their favorite Crown Royal was out of my Crown Royal bag lineup, and salted caramel was the answer, which means we're gonna use the Halloween Oracle. But since I left these sitting out and I shuffled them, because sometimes I like to leave the cards out if I know I'm gonna come back for them later, tomorrow, the next day, tonight, whatever it is. And I shuffled them, let them sitting out, and then I picked them up and shuffled them before getting started right now. So even though we kind of incidentally chose the Halloween Oracle, I wanted to do this first because Capricorn is the top of the deck once again. Happens every so often. Bottom of the deck is Sagittarius. So to me, that's like we've been getting really hype on Scorpio season around here and like super not hype for Libra season, but to see Sagittarius and Capricorn come up, it makes me think it's going to be like a couple good months, like November, December, January, um, coming in October, but not really until November, December, and by January, it's like new year, new life. It's no longer new year, new me. Maybe stop changing who you are. Stop seeing yourself as being needed to be new, and rather be improved, right? New year, better habits. Why are we talking about New Year's already? I'm really rushing through Libra season. I'm like, I get it. Nothing's happening. Nobody's talking. It's a fucking standoff. Iced out. Whatever. Hey, there he is. Um, and now we're just looking forward to. It's fine. I like them. I was about to say I love Libras. I don't really. But look, Threshold is under Sagittarius, so it's almost like that transition between November, December, Sag to Capricorn season is going to be like when we break through, so to speak. So keep holding on. And yeah, I don't mind Libras, but there's something. Usually I'm hyped for Libra season because it's the start of spooky season, and I love spooky season. It's prime time for the work I do. It's like necromancy, and people are down for spooky stuff, and I'm spooky Foxy Mulder. And, it's kind of my time. I'm usually really hyped and looking forward to Libra season. But this year, it's just this weird, like, nope, I don't trust it. Whatever's happening in Libra season, probably not real. Probably fake. Just like a Libra. Just kidding. I kind of like Libras, but some of them are super fake. It's whether or not you're evolved as a person that indicates the type of relationship you have to the zodiac stereotypes, I think. It's pretty much so every planet's in retrograde for like a different length of time. It starts at different times. So I don't know what's in retrograde right now, but you can, if you look through the list, you can see that they like slowly, like one by one, week by week, month by month, come out of retrograde. So like it's, and so maybe by January they're all back direct. I think by December they are, but then like, whoo, shake it off. January finally coming through, clean energy, back moving forward, because, well, this is what I keep bringing up, and I think is so funny, is that I have been really reflective on the past 10 years for the past like 4 months. And this was after Venus went into retrograde in February. It was right around Valentine's Day. Venus went into retrograde, which put relationships in different directions, especially romantic relationships. A lot of like, I don't want to say a lot of infidelity, but that's what popped into my head, was like the energy of questioning, going back to past lovers, wondering if you made the right choice when it comes to relationships. Like that's a not Mercury retrograde, Venus in retrograde. And I think Mercury was in retrograde at the same time for a longer period. They overlapped, right? And since then, there was other ones, but right now, like you said, there's like 6 of them going into retrograde. 6 out of 9. So you just think all the retrograde means is that it's the planet itself is rotating backwards rather than moving forwards. So it's spinning the wrong way or in the opposite direction of its normal route, and therefore moving backwards on its not the axis, is the spinning part. With the orbit, moving backwards in orbit because it's rotating backwards on its axis. So if you take what the planets represent and then you see that they're moving backwards, it's like, where are we going to see Venus? We're going to move backwards in our love life and relationships. Mercury, we're going to... Is it based on an illusion? I thought this was like a scientific notion that like retrograde just means that the planet itself is moving backwards. Look it up. Oh, maybe, I don't know. I just looked into it one time because I didn't understand what it meant, and I just found that it's like a scientific phenomenon where sometimes you go backwards. But does Earth ever go into retrograde? Because that's maybe why it would be an illusion, because why doesn't our planet do that? You might be right. I have no idea. But then, so something like Mercury moving backwards would be communication breakdowns or technology wearing out, or, whatever. Mars moving backwards would be like reverting to old habits, going back to addictions even, or power tripping, ego tripping, and Uranus moving backwards, probably revisiting old projects and old friendships. Some of this is kind of channeled. Some of this is like, I'm trying to remember what each planet is and what it would mean to be, moving the opposite direction of where you're headed. And so for some people, retrogrades are really hard if they were not expecting it. But sure, if you're not expecting it, then by all means it's going to come as a surprise. But I think kind of not working on yourself. Ooh, I feel you, because listen, my friend, I have been smoking a little too much weed. It's so much fun, but it's like, am I too old for this, or do you never really grow out of being a stoner? It's a lifestyle, but am I dedicated to this lifestyle? I don't really know. I know. I literally was about to rip the ball as I was saying this, is the thing. I was going to be like, listen, I've been smoking too much. And as much as I want to quit, I also have no intention of doing that. But also, this is the thing with addiction. I talked about this last night. Gotta stop thinking of it as a disease. It's a trait that you carry. And having that trait means that certain things can make you fucking sick. And if you get a disease from making yourself sick, then so be it, because there are diseases that come from making yourself sick with things like alcohol or drugs, kidney failure, liver failure, cancer, etc. Right? So, no, addiction's not a disease. So, when you stop having that mentality about it, stop feeling sorry for yourself, not saying that that's you, but just in general, the conversation we had about it last night, you can start seeing it for what it is. However, on the other hand, and me as a person, play both fields. This is not devil's advocacy. This is somewhere I am walking on the wild side, and I'm not sure on which side of the fence that I lie. Because humanness and hedonism, which I'm a big fan of, would suggest that perhaps this is why we are here, is not some divine purpose, but for earthly pleasures. Because why not? You ain't smoking when you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I get that it's killing me, but I'm dying either way. I totally understand that mentality. Getting fucked up is some people's divine purpose, because when you trip and stuff, you see God. Okay, then it's like, whatever, you know? I can't, what are you gonna do? You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so party a little bit, celebrate. Um, yeah, that methyltryptamine releases from your brain, your dreaming chemicals, it all depletes when you die. Um, Pretty cool. And so that's why my near death experience is interesting, because what if my body was just releasing a whole bunch of DMT because I was starving and I was thirsty and I hadn't slept. And so it's like the mix of euphoria and the natural high trip that comes from things like starvation and hallucinating from not sleeping. And I wonder if my brain was releasing DMT. I also considered that perhaps I had something tuned to COVID, because this was November 2019, right? Body was pretty much eating itself, and it's like, you'll die if you eat yourself, and it's like, all right, let's go. Whoa, this is what death is like. This is so cool. And then it's like, okay, this is scary. I want to go home. I want to stop, you know. But where do you where do I land on that? You know, it's like, I don't want to give up my vices completely. They make me completely human. Though I do enjoy living clear headed, it's also hard to cope with stress and trauma and whatever you might be going through in a week, a day, a month. So I think there's nothing so righteous about it, but I think as long as I can still keep up with my life, which, as we discussed, friends, is difficult for me for other reasons, but I feel the weed is not necessarily the reason that I have a hard time self promoting. You know, like, I don't think getting high is the reason that I'm like, do I sound like a narcissist by begging people to watch my shit? Yes, the answer is yes. People who seek fame do obviously have a narcissistic tendency to it. So it's very much like, I want to be paid to be an artist and for my work in the spiritual world, because it's what I deserve and it's makes sense. It's what I'm meant to do, you know? Yo, exactly. And when I do this, I love smoking because it keeps me from overthinking what I'm saying. It keeps me from blocking out messages that I get self-conscious about repeating. And it'll keep me kind of like in tune, focused, vibing. So my problem is when I do it outside of work more than anything. And also, why not use these things as tools and see them as potions and medicines that we've created, co-created with nature over time to help us execute these things, our daily lives and these tasks of socializing or spirituality, whatever it is. I see the problem in excess, of course, who doesn't? But to cut it out completely is far from what I want to do. Even though I quit drinking last summer, I more or less quit getting drunk rather than quit drinking. I cut down on my drinking so severely that I basically, on paper, don't drink anymore. Um, but I still use alcohol as spirits, right? It's still part of my craft. Wine is very important to my culture and my craft, for that matter, which are tied together anyways, Straganona vibes. And I'll always drink wine. I'll always have the blood of Christ, if you will. I will always do a champagne toast or take one shot for someone's birthday, you know. So, no, I'm not going to commit to cutting out alcohol. I'm just going to commit to not getting drunk. Thank you very much. There was one day I got pretty damn tipsy because it was a course of a day kind of party. Um, and as the night went on and the kids went home, you know, and that was like peak drunkenness in the past year. And it wasn't too drunk, but when you don't drink that much, it's like, whoa, I can get pretty damn tipsy off a couple glasses of wine, can't I? Yes, I can. Love that for myself. So I think it's about balancing your vices more than it is about quitting or sobriety, because it's not that sobriety sucks, but I do think that weed grew here and fruit ferments, you know? So, like, obviously, there is something very natural about what we're doing in the same way that eucalyptus is getting these koala bears fucked up. Boom, yo, Pico, my friends are here. Like, my IRL friends are here, and I was telling them about you before the stream. Also, why did you randomly start following me 2 minutes ago? 2 hours ago? Okay. Um, Hemp fuel was the way of the, well, I don't want to say the world. That's a narrow because I have no idea if it was the world. Hemp fuel was the way of the US, like basically before the Great Depression. We were on the right track. That's what's so sad is historically, like, even the founding fathers were pretty into hemp, right? I think Ben Franklin was like, no, I'm getting high off this shit. And everyone else was like, no, we use hemp for our clothes, for our fuel, our crops. I think they were eating that shit. And it wasn't until lobbyists popped up in, like, I believe it was the 1920s, and they were like, look, we can sell oil for more things and make more money. We gotta stop these hemp dudes. And it's like, why would you ever make that choice? I don't care how much money you're offering. Literally, hemp is so much less destructive to the environment. And they were like, you know what? We're going to double down on oil, actually. Thanks, though, you guys. We'll see you later. All right? Okay, bye. I do have to play an ad soon. I'm going to try to make it to this 20-minute mark, but it tells me, like, if you don't play an ad, we'll play it for you. And it's like, all right. We like to stay in control. We don't like to auto roll on this channel. That shit's annoying. Um, so we'll have to take 60 seconds. And this morning, my stream was, I think it was dope. I can't believe how many views it got literally while I was sleeping. Thank you to anybody who watched 7 hours. I mean, who knows if anybody actually got through the whole thing. That would be redonkulous. I feel like I talk so much shit that who would ever admit to it, but please don't be shy. The tower. Oh, yeah. Oh, no. Why is that a thing when you raid someone? I don't really understand raids. I don't think I've ever been properly raided. But, yeah, last night was dope, but I was so exhausted and I think I only slept like 5 or 6 hours after that 7.5 hour stream. And tarot's energy work, man, it drains you, you know. I'm sitting here, but I also worked for solid 10 hours last night. And I think tonight I'll have to take, if I stay up, first of all, I'm going to stay up because I cannot throw off my schedule for Saturday. Oh, was it a glitch? Oh, you're back on your, yeah. But I need to take longer breaks while I do the longer streams instead of only doing 60 seconds and running right back. Obviously, I just started for the night, so I'm not saying this is going to be a long break, but if we get deep into it, I got to pace myself better than I did last night, which is ironic because no one was watching and I just literally used the mystery deck for I think like 3.5 hours straight. I think just by myself, just going hard. Anyways, gonna roll. Made it to 20. I'll be right back for real this time. But next time, maybe not so. Be right back. Maybe BBL instead of BRB. We'll see. We'll see. Okay, but not this time. This is a BRB. Yo. I saw your message, by the way. I'm sorry I'm cutting out. I think it could be the internet. I don't really know. Um, is it my microphone? It's also maybe the lag. It's a lot of things, man. Twitch Studio Beta, it's not great. I've had so many problems with it, and then I'm like, hey, Twitch, I got problems with your shit. Anything you can do about it? And they're like, don't worry about it. We're working on it. What are you even talking about? We're not really sure. We're actually done with you. We're not replying to your messages. And then it's fine. It's weird. I don't know. So, yeah, sorry. You'll get the messages you need. I feel like everyone could hear me drink that water, and I don't really know if you could, but I was like, ASMR in my head. Okay, um, I know you can't right now, but it's water. LOL, this is literally just water in a fancy mug that Olivia gave me a long time ago. Um, I know you can't right now, but do you remember when you told me for the first time ever what ASMR was when we were working at that place? We do love a hydrated queen. This is my fun for the evening. Remember, because I showed up to work and I was like, yo, do you ever hear something that makes your head feel good internally? And you're like, what? And you're like, and I'm trying to explain, like, I don't know, like sounds that are satisfying to your brain. And you're like, give me an example. And I was like, okay, so when the balls hit the screen, so wild out of context, but I'm not trying to mention what the context is. So just use your imagination. I don't care. Think what you want of us. But when the balls hit the screen, I love that sound. It's soothing to me. And you were like, oh, I think that's ASMR. It's this thing I learned about. And then we looked it up on the computers. Yeah. You're like, yeah, I heard about this. I think what you're describing is ASMR. And I was like, oh my God, it's a thing. Yeah, that's so satisfying to me. That's so hilarious. I know. It's so cute. The origins, ASMR origins, because you have no idea. Sometimes I'll be like eating and no one watches me eat for free. So I'll keep the sound on and just ASMR. So like I'm a low key ASMR channel. When I have nails, oh boy, even without nails, I tap a lot, which has nothing to do with ASMR and everything to do with channeling. Cheers. Oh my God, cutest thing ever. So we always do a tap down because we're dive bar bitches. There's no way to put it in any other way. But if you were cheersing someone with a bong, you would like cheers and then put it down and pull as if you're like tapping down, you know? That's so cute. I love that. Hell yeah. Yeah. I don't have time to take a break every time I want to hit the bong. But eating food, no, you're either buying the dinner or you're paying for the content. For sure, 100%. No, you don't get to watch me eat for free. You can listen though for free because that's just ASMR, right? Yeah. I don't care if I'm fucked up in the head. So anyways, I love that I just like how often you don't know who the fuck is watching on here. And I feel like I'm my unadulterated self having my IRL friends present. You guys are the sweetest. And then it's like randos being like, huh, the fuck is she talking about? Is she doing tarot? Kind of. Got Aquarius. Yeah, so that really lines up. Sagittarius, Capricorn, and Aquarius have come up. The only zodiac cards I've seen in the reading so far. And the reason I find that intriguing is because they are consequential. They came up Capricorn, Sagittarius, Aquarius, but the fact that all three of them came up, well, we can put them in consecutive order. And we can guess that it's going to be a pretty good winter. I'm guessing it'll be a pretty fruitful bounty this autumn. Scorpio season is going to be so much fun. It's like, okay. A lot of people, for me, I'm feeling stagnant. Someone the other night said they were feeling a transformation. Someone today said they were feeling, what was it? What was the word that you, That's so cute. Tarot. So, cracking up. The fuck? What the fuck were we talking about? The consequential. So it's gonna be very good winter. So we'll see sort of what's coming. Come Libra season is going to reveal a lot. The shadow stuff is going to come out in Libra season, and I think that's why someone such as myself who's been doing the shadow work for a solid 3 years now, and I've sort of always, I'm more Peter Pan than I think I am. I would describe it as because I have always sat with my shadow, acknowledged my shadow self. I think it just wasn't until 3 years ago that I did the work on my shadow because I was accepting of it. I was like, yeah, I know my dark side. Yeah, I see the downfall, whatever, the problems. But I embrace that part of myself and I can love myself through it because it's temporary and I can be myself again someday. I'll be happy, blah, blah, blah. So instead of being like that part of me needs work, I was like, that part of me needs love, which is super wise for someone so young. Don't make me get started on fifth grade adventure again. But because I was forced to sit due to my injuries that we will talk about more in depth come Scorpio season, which is part of the reason I'm excited for it because it'll mark my 3-year anniversary. And I'm like, I'm ready to talk about it. I thought I was going to write it down, and it's like, nope, I'm going to say it out loud. That's why I've been putting a lot out there lately, spilling the tea, if you will, and being more honest about my story, my roots, where I'm coming from, where I'm at now, and what I deal with. It is the best season. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. And I know that's my Scorpio rising talking, but it's hype as fuck. It always is. It's Halloween. I mean, Halloween is all of our favorite holidays. We know that. But Scorpio season is delectable. It is delectable. It's sexy. It's cool. It's fun. It's intense, mysterious, even because it's very hollow in the sense of, Persephone being in the underworld. Everything's dead, and yet you feel so alive. It's intense. Burning of the soul, Scorpio season. I love it. And everyone looks good in red. Don't know how red is a fucking Christmas color? That's bullshit. It should definitely be a Halloween color. Orange, black, and red. It just kind of makes sense. But anyways, Scorpio season's gonna be lit. So exactly. Literally core Scorpio vibes. Core Scorpio values is what I really meant to say. Core Scorpio values. We are the hottest bitches and we will ruin your life. And it's like unintentional too. It's like intentional because we have to trigger people. We know that. And that's why the karma of being a Scorpio is being a Scorpio. Y'all don't serve up karma like other people do. I'm actually a Taurus sun, so like I reap some of the benefits. Exactly, exactly. You might know you're doing it, but you know you need to do it anyways and that you can't care. And you have to just walk away or tell it like it, you have to act in the moment. It's like servers of karma, but that's what always makes you the bad guy, the enemy, and the most hated sign in the zodiac and sometimes isolated. I know a lot of Scorpios who really don't socialize or have a lot of friends often, or they socialize without fostering close relationships and will be a part of social circles but not be as one on one. I see that trait in myself too, in a way. But I think I do have like a handful of best friends, but I also have a rotating cast. So I'm a Taurus sun. I serve up mad karma. My name is fucking Earl, bro. There's a reason they gave him Jason Lee's birthday. Exactly. And also kind of being content. You didn't move back. You didn't give up. And you know you can socialize, but you're like, actually, this is kind of nice. I got some time to myself. And you're like, I forgot what that was like. Plus, when you get that social fill at work, it's game over. You know, Twitch makes me so much more content. I've been in the house since the end of 2019 because I had some injuries. I couldn't walk, couldn't move. 3 months later, quarantine started, and I was like, woo! No offense, y'all. I know it's tragic. RIP to the millions. RIP every day. But, I know it was sad, but for me, it was like, haha, you all are going to have to sit and relax with me. Thanks. Great. Amazing. That's why I think maybe I did have COVID 2019 in November when it was like out in China, so to speak, but not here yet. And I was in LA, which is sort of an international hub. And I wonder if part of the hallucinatory experience and delusions that I had, akin to what you might call psychosis, or in like another worldly way, death itself, right? Um, that would be like, just say hi if you're lurking. Why is that coming through? Why am I thinking about you? Random. Are you the Aries that comes up in my readings? I don't know who that is. But anyways, I mean, I know who that is, but I just would have doubted. What were we talking about? I mean, presence is a little bit distracting, especially because there's connecting. Right. So maybe I had a fever induced from COVID at the time that I was experiencing. Yes, near death in life, but it was also perhaps a fever dream induced delirium that triggered it, and also makes you lose your appetite, whatever. But I got so out of touch with reality that there was no way for me to compensate or care for myself in that way, or have been able to check for myself, actually. So it was interesting to look back on and see how it developed after that. And yeah, I got lucky that I was injured in so many different places in my body. I really couldn't walk or do anything. It was gonna be at least 6 months, if not a year. I don't know, because I didn't tell anybody. But because it was a lot to unpack. I'm telling now, like that's what I'm saying. 3 years later, I'm like, I could probably talk about this because I've gotten some pretty poor reactions when I do tell people who I talk to all the time and knew this and that. You know what I'm saying? And I get some poor reactions, and I got sick of that. Where I'm like, I'll do it when I'm ready instead of people asking me and I answer honestly. Okay. Nope. So yeah, same. Took 3 years. But yeah, no. Aquarius is here too. We mentioned that, but I'm an Aquarius moon. And law of continuity. Sometimes it takes time. And the thing is, it's like, God, thank you. I sometimes am not here for me. You know what I mean? Sometimes I am the little bish. And sometimes I get really into it because I'm super fascinated by it all. And I love what I see until I've seen too much and gotta go. And then it's like, who controls the controls, right? It just gets murky. I will, and you too. This was 3 years ago, but sometimes I still freak out. Still got PMDD, bro. I still go full blown Tyler Durden basically every other month where it's like a boxing match. So sometimes I'm very insulting and people are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, dude, who was that? It's literally like no spoilers ever. Don't care how old the thing is, but we all know about Fight Club at this point, right? So imagine Jack running around at the end being like, where was I last week? You know, what did I tell you? You know, play it back for me. Piecing his life together. That's how it feels when that happens, where it's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. What did I say? What did I do? It's a beast and a half, but it's only one of my ovaries. It's so fucking bizarre to me that it's like that. They take turns. Sarah Paulson's like weepy and pathetic and kind of ready to just float out of here in her own way, but Tyler Durden is like fucking hellish, violent, angry, raging, just insane. Because your ovaries have different tactics for getting themselves pregnant, and therefore they have different reactions to your body being not or without pregnancy, you know? That. You know what's so funny too is Libra. Wow. I was just going to say, when I started there, um, I made my first friend. We had our first shifts together, you know. She was a Libra. She is a Libra. And I'm the only one she talks to, and she's the only one, well, like you heard casually, that, yeah, it's definitely, it was a magical time in a magical place. And I think it's great that we are still in touch, even if things change. A lot changed, right? We watched it change. We helped it change. And I think we all were meant to interact or do the things that we did or be in the places that we were. Because I remember some of the dreams that I had when I was working there. And my work dreams are not always as straightforward as, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's really good at that. She is really good at casting, if you will. I won't say too much. I don't like to be too revealing on personal details for anyone's life, but you know who I'm talking about and you know exactly what I mean. She's fantastic at casting. Universal love. Because some people are really attuned to other people's needs, you know? And something that has come up in the past few days because narcissism is a big theme in life right now. And for me personally, it's because, like we were talking about earlier, I have a hard time unseeing how narcissistic it is to self promote and um, want to achieve notoriety or fame in regards to numbers rather than ability or skill. I mean, I do have the ability and skill, but in order to be successful on Twitch, you need like more views and more this and that, more followers, more subs. And in order to get that, you have to kind of self promote and say, hey, watch this, look at me. And I'm like, at the core of my being, I'm fine if you want to watch something else. You know what I mean? So I'm struggling with the idea that it's like, okay, try to just do it because you know you have to, but it's still something I struggle with. So of course I see these traits parallel in my life in other ways, like dealing with certain people. Like, is this person a narcissist? They've been accused of it, but at the core of my being, I don't feel that, you know? I think my soul would tell me if that were the case, right? Because I can tell with other people. So what's the deal? And then I start to think, wow, when you, even in the spiritual community, little quips, little phrases and sayings, you are a reflection of you as a projection of whatever they say. It really takes me off because it is very narcissistic. It's kind of like casually gaslighting someone using spirituality to say a reflection of you, your perception of me is a reflection of you. Listen, you're still your own person. My own shit might be why I met you, but you are still you. I'm sorry. How you're perceived still is on you. And for somebody to try to say that's your opinion, that's what you think, that's not how it really happened, is the same as gaslighting. So to see narcissistic traits in people, this has been a conversation, is I think it's more common because of the way that we have been preached to, especially when you factor in Christianity being the main religion in this country. Amen. But I have to run an ad break. They're bitching at me. I'm going to read that while it rolls. I'll BRB. All right. I like to do some stretches and stuff during my ad breaks. Oh, I love you the most because I love the most. So, grappling with the narcissistic personality trait rather than the narcissistic personality disorder, because you can't just assume that everyone is inherently and biologically incorrectly behaving to the extent that it couldn't be cured. I think that we have a lot of pressure on us to be individuals and to succeed as individuals, and the American dream in itself is narcissistic. Colonization in itself is very narcissistic. So it's common ideals that we've carried throughout culture and passed on and passed off as tradition or morals or values that we've always had, and die-hard camaraderie for what do you call it, like allegiance, pride and patriotism, to be so self-obsessed. So I think it's at no fault of any one particular person. especially because the reason I've had to look at it is because I look at my own past behavior and see why people would be like, you're a narcissist. And it's like, I see myself as a wounded child who is reacting in a way that either mimicked or was serving to a narcissistic personality type. But I understand that that makes me as bad as, the ones who showed me or did it first. So as long as you heal, what's so bad about admitting you were wrong in the first place? And I struggle with the fact that many people would rather avoid the conversation, not hear it, and not hold themselves accountable. So they won't let you hold yourself accountable. I think that's what it really comes down to, is like it's hard for people to admit to who they are and what their intentions may be. But at the same time, honesty is apparently the best policy. However, when you live in a culture of lies, oh, hide your feelings, never catch feelings, no emotions ever, do what you need to do to get ahead. Even corporate ladders are like insidious, right? Where it's just like shitting on your coworkers and stabbing people in the back to get a promotion and ratting out your friends or whatever. Getting to that point, like I said, it's just the rat race itself. It's all pretty narcissistic. So to be able to like take a step back and be like, damn, it's toxic, bro. And then we wonder why we see so much toxicity in our personal relationships with other individuals. And it's like because we were all raised this way and indoctrinated to be this way. And now we're breaking. Some of us are breaking out of it, and some of us are deeper into it than ever. Because when you affirm each other's terrible behavior instead of hold each other accountable, you get out of control, egotistical, blah, 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 blah. So, yeah, especially when you add fear into it and people are afraid of who they are or afraid to admit how they feel, afraid instead of just, no, I don't do that because it's fucking weak as fuck, bullshit, snowflake gay, blah, 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 bye. It's, I'm afraid of what you'll think. I'm afraid of how you'll feel. I'm afraid of your reaction. People do things out of fear, not out of hatred, really. Or hatred stems from fear. And we've known that. And people who still fall for the trope, so questionable, but they really just want no eyes on them. They want eyes on someone else so they can, like, be in secrecy, hating themselves or doing something behind their own back or, be insidious and kind of just crap, right? So I guess when someone turns your back, you gotta let them. My Aquarius moon can compute, doesn't want to, but will. That's what it is. And so we have laughter, evolution, and Leo right here. I'm going to stop taking from the deck, but these moved after I picked up Aquarius, so fixed energy coming in. And once again, stuff that happened during Leo season. And of course, I see the laughter card. It's one of my favorites in here. I just think the mandala itself is so pretty. It's rainbow. The lighting changes the color a little bit. My absolute favorite is definitely the Cosmic Initiation card, but the laughter one's pretty cute. So, God, I just think of that SpongeBob song. So when we mix your laughter with my spooky tune, if the world does end tomorrow, baby, I'll start again with you. So perhaps think of it that way if the world were to end. And say it did, and you wake up anyways, right? Because that's how I felt. Waking up in a hospital bed 3 days later as a Jane Doe. Like, what the fuck did you put in my head? Nothing, just some staples. It's nothing. It's nothing. Okay, then. Okay. And I'm supposed to trust you for some reason. That's fine. Okay. Got no choice, right? Should we go back in? See if there's anything? No, probably not. Probably not. Anyways, evolution. So a lot has changed, perhaps looking at the situation differently, laughing it off as you walk away, and evolving and letting it propel you into the next thing and help you grow as a person. And just know that you reap what you sow. So as long as you have good intentions and love in your heart, then of course someday at least you will see that come to fruition in return. However, ill-intended and bad choices, even if you see immediate benefits in the long run, leave you kind of empty and helpless, right? That's the idea. Perhaps I'll be the most satisfied on my deathbed, and that was the whole lesson in necromancy. Either way, I think it is. And that can be frightening for some people and comforting for others. And I think that's what it comes down to, is like our, not even core values, but just people being in different places with different opinions and coming together, meaning compromising, but also questioning. Because another big aspect to the case of division in any category, but as we know it, would be that, man, that song is really stuck in my head. Just stop, you know what I mean? It's almost like if you concentrate so much on letting someone go, clearly you're still holding on. If you have to consciously think about letting someone go, like, sure, that can be part of the process, but don't think that because you made the decision means that you actually have done it yet. And if you are struggling to let someone go, perhaps there's a reason for that. And it could be that you are letting them go too soon or unwarranted or at the wrong time in the wrong way or something like that. I don't know why that's coming to mind. It's like I can see you, you know. Take my advice or don't. I'm not here to force anything upon anyone. And never take the messages personally, because who knows where they're coming from. I consider these my angel cards. They're like biblically correct angels without the eyeballs. And they're technically not angel cards. Right. Wow, that's funny it would apply to you, because I felt like I was talking to someone who I have, like, I've tried. Come to accept, fuck it. Okay, I'll let go. And it's like, nope, you're still on my mind. Why is that? Because I've truly come to terms with it, put in any efforts I could, taken steps to be like, okay, I hear you. And without the reciprocation where it's like, cool, I've accepted that. It's a reality, but I feel otherwise. I hear otherwise. I see otherwise. And it's like, you're making the decision to let it go, and then you're not actually letting it go. Why is that? So, I almost did that. I was like, now it was 2 years ago, and then I got craft blocked, if you will, like cock blocked for witchcraft. And this chick was like scared, even though I had nothing to do with her. She was like, don't do it here, blah, blah, blah. I was like, whatever. Totally curved. And I was like, fine, I won't. I'll figure it out another time. Left it sitting for a couple months. Came to the realization that she was probably right, and I needed to more likely reverse what I'd done rather than cut the cord, right? And I did. I was like, I have different opinions. I wanted to see things. I just want to see things more clearly instead of seeing them one-sided from my vision, blah, blah, blah. And over the past 4 or 5 months now, since I reversed it or whatever, took a pause, contemplated it for a year and a half, and then decided to do the work in reversing it. Because I realized that maybe cutting people off really isn't the solution. And perhaps it's that you come together to untie yourselves from one another. And there's nothing wrong with that, other than for some people, when they come face to face, they don't want to do it. They don't want to pull that string. And that's why cord cutting is so much easier because you just go behind someone's back and snip instead of actually doing the work that comes with progressing the connection because you got attached for this long for a reason. But at the same time, breaking karmic cycles, right? However, I feel like when it comes to breaking generational curses or karmic cycles, whatever you want to call it, however you want to see fit, I feel like it definitely comes with the people that you are born into in this world that you need to do that work with rather than the people you meet. And I think that people avoid the work with the ones that they're bestowed upon. And so they never heal the relationships with the people they come upon. And the thing is, if we are seeking them out, if we're choosing them, if we are happenstance meeting them, clearly that's a connection that's meant to be there, rather than the ones that we are born into or attached to from birth, from the start, that we have no choice in, being the ones that we need to break from the most, in a sense. And that's not to say every toxic family relationship, whatever. Not everyone's here to break curses or be generational, blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? That's not everybody's life path. You are on point. There's like this thing going on, and it seems like the two sides are at odds for no reason. In my scenario, I guess I kind of understand where all parties are coming from. Um, but perhaps, yes, okay, so I allude to a triangle scenario. That would probably be the best way to describe any of the scenarios I'm in, is either unrequited love or a triangle experience. And everyone's different. Not everyone is suited for the same things or want the same things, and you gotta accept that. And once again, my Aquarius moon evolution, backwards Aquarius moon evolution, tells me that that's fine and I can. That's another thing that came up last night, is talking about how I've just had to accept who I am a long time ago because no one else ever did. I mean, I've been dealing with like casual rejection in my everyday life and being questioned for everything I do since day fucking one with the nuns. You know what I'm saying? So, like, another person in my life who decides I'm too much or that I'm too weird or they're too self conscious and care about what people think more than they care about me, fine, go for it. Duh. So says everyone. So says everything. Like, no shit. No brainer. Um, cool. And you, as a Scorpio, probably similar vibes where it's like, fuck it. Loner wolf style. Doesn't matter. I hate him too, but actually, I just send love for the most part. I high frequency love people, um, but also low blow hate them. And there are two wolves inside you. Do you feed the one that emits the frequency of love, or do you feed the one that seeks revenge? Right. So that's the thing. That's where I've been at, where it's like, cool, all right, I get the picture. I'm letting you go. And this is what I was saying. It was probably last week. I don't even know. Maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and the readings aren't there anymore. We did a twin flame extensive intensive thing, and I came up with the 5 stages of love, very similar to the, not similar to, but same concept of 5 stages of grief, but 5 stages of love, and how sure there's different levels to things, and like the twin flame connection being a very unideal one, and karmics being like the obviously toxic ones, and like soulmates being like the easy love ones. Not like easy in the sense all love is work, but like the ones you never question would be soulmates. You know what I mean? The ones who treat you right from the start, those are your soulmates. And the ones that are more tumultuous but fail to work out are more karmic. And the twin flame is sort of the ones you never even experience because it takes all the work of healing on your own. Whereas part of the reason soulmates are so accepting from the start is because they're there to help heal your heart, basically. And they're there to like help you down that road and be there for you and be supportive. And karmics are there to trigger you and treat you like shit. And twin flames are there at the end of it, where it's like they're not there for the journey. They only meet you at your healed self. but you won't meet them if they don't do the same thing. And that's like the core part of mirroring. If you get off track at that phase, then it's a lost cause, goner. Who cares? It's not so not worth it, because otherwise, a twin flame is just a karmic, just gonna keep triggering you if they don't do the separate healing work, right? And if you can't handle doing it on your own, that's why you go for soulmate love. It's not a question of how much someone loves you or how good or true it is or the connection to it. It's literally the route you take to get it. Because you can meet a soulmate who's completely healed and you're not. And they're like, but I love you anyways and I'm going to help you through this. Karmic ain't going to do that shit. They're going to be like, I'm not healed and you're never healing. Fuck you, bitch. And then like a twin flame will be like, I'm not healed right now. I can't do this. Right? So, what are you going to do? I know. A lot of people do, because twin flame's supposed to be this ultimate blah, blah, blah. No, you never meet them. They're elusive. They're garbo till you come to your own, you meet in the end. That's why it's like MGK and Megan Fox probably are more karmic than anything. They met in 2019. That's not a good start. There's like very few windows where twin flames get together, because it's like, if you don't do it now, then you have more trauma to unpack, basically, and you just keep missing windows and stuff. And yeah, definitely a soulmate. You know what I mean? Usually, if one party is ready, there's an indication of a soulmate. But that's why usually you can come back to soulmates and they understand and accept it. Oh, that's so sad. Oh my God, that's sad. See, and okay, here's the other thing too. This is another concept that came up. I like that we're revisiting this, because something the other night told me I should do a love reading or twin flame stuff, and then I used the mystery deck for 4 hours and it didn't come up. So it's funny that you mentioned it, because this is very seems appropriate, because we were talking about it so much for a couple weeks and then died down, focused on other things, poetry, aliens, whatever, and now it's coming back around and being like, all right, so updates. Masculine's kind of failed the journey, but it's okay. Femmes are doing great. But the other concept, what was it that we were talking about? Oh, man, I don't know. Sometimes it's too many things where if it's like, oh, we could talk about this and that. No, you're not spamming. This is how these channels go. That's why sometimes I'm not really doing tarot on here, and I don't always like to do tarot. This is more enjoyable, less exhausting than doing actual tarot, but it's nice. I still have cards to reference if we get too far off track or have nothing to talk about. So, no, you're not spamming. We've had way more spamalicious spam on here. You're more fergalicious, my dear. Concepts in the twin flame, love, blah, 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 connections. I don't even remember. I think it probably doesn't matter. We talk this shit to death, but then it comes up again because it's all relevant. We need an update. It's like there's windows and increments. Oh, one thing too, when I said that this MGK, Megan Fox thing, is also that there's usually a pretty big point of adversity in a twin flame connection, which is what puts you off so many times before you actually get together, and why it's so challenging and why it forces you to heal things before you approach them. For example, if you are going to be in an interracial relationship, then you have to do the work to make sure that you aren't inherently racist. You have to let go of this idea that I'm not racist and realize that some of the things that you've been doing your whole life are deeply integrated in racism. If you are going to love someone of another race than your own, then you have to understand the implications of your way of life being a falsified version of what you think is happening versus what they want you to think is happening. From casual to systemic, you have to realize it's there if you're going to pursue a relationship like that. Otherwise, you're just in a toxic cycle of perpetuating not just stereotypes, but horrible karmic lessons, right? But the idea is to heal from it. And so, like, a soulmate will teach you these things because they love you. A karmic will trigger these things because they hate you. And a twin flame will wait for you to figure them out so that that you can be absolved from that issue. Same thing for age. Could be a big age gap. It could be same sex. It could be, there's always some point of adversity where you have to have a deeper understanding, if you don't already. But see, also, meant for you is anyone. It's possessive mentality. Typical, classic Scorpio. Yes, though, having no physical attraction seems to be a huge trigger for me because I will literally be fucking revolted by somebody, and then all of a sudden I'm like, is this love? And it's like, ew, what? Get your enemies to lovers pipeline the fuck out of here. Okay, like, no. But also that's like a trigger. It's funny we were talking about the days. I think about this a lot. One of the first times I feel like I really consciously experienced a karmic. Actually, before I get into this, I gotta roll an ad. We're getting to that. I think it's been 20 minutes, right? They start bitching that if I don't roll an ad, they will, but they don't really say, or I can't see how much time I have before they automatically do it. There you go. See, I called it, where it's like he's willing to accept that and like work through it or whatever, or he's not, and that's why you gotta do it yourself and understand what it really means to decolonize your mind and entire way of life. So, on that note, we should leave notes on what we're talking about, so when I come back in 60 seconds, I'm not completely lost. But I remember it's Virgo season, and we are spilling tea. So let me tell you about my pumpkin spice latte. That's not really a tea. My pumpkin chai latte. Okay. I hope I remember what that means. It's 60 seconds. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I started snacking and you already know my rules, so we're gonna do a little Ghirardelli ASMR. unwrapping chocolate. Guess what kind of chocolate it is? Like, obviously it's Ghirardelli. We said that already. Dark chocolate and sea salt caramel. ASMR. It's so good. You know, it's that salted caramel. ASMR is more awkward than literally like podcasting alone, which is pretty fucking awkward. ASMR is way worse. But oh my god, y'all, I couldn't wait. This chocolate is so good. ASMR. So gross. I love it though, yeah. Balls hitting the screen. Really satisfying. I really love taking that out of context. I ain't even gonna lie. Cool. I'm about to be back. But let me do a chocolate check. Oh man. I could probably eat 5,000 of those and be so happy. Okay. Hello, I'm back. It's me. Okay, so we were kind of talking about loves, connections, past lives, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck it, it's time to talk about my little pumpkin chai latte. That sounds way too sweet for what it was. 11111. But something about him was very sweet. And the lessons I learned I deeply appreciate, where I'm probably his soulmate in that regard, where for me, he was more of a karmic because he ended up being terrible, right, to me. And I was like, I understand that this person just needs sympathy and love, and it's something I definitely can't give them without them being open to receiving it. And for sure took advantage of me, whatever, took advantage of my love. But, you know, it's hard to unsee the wounded inner child. So based on what we're talking about, attraction and soulmates and being triggered and blah, blah, blah. This one in particular is funny because it was someone, we don't put things on blast over here. We can't right now, okay? But he was there at one point, before you, I guess. And I met his friend first. He was like, oh, perfect guy. Bring him here, get a job. And he came in, gave us his info, and he was the perfect guy for the job. And I looked at him, and we kind of like at each other. And I turned around and told our manager, like, don't hire him. And he's like, what? Why? I'm totally about to hire him. What the fuck do you mean don't hire him? He's amazing. He's perfect for the job. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. Something's telling me do not hire him, right? Like, just don't do it. Just trust me on this, you know? And at the time, I was just getting into tarot readings and stuff. Well, I guess I was pretty deep in it. It was 2016. And we both mutually were like, no, we need the help. He's really fit for the job. Like, let's just hire him. Not that I had anything to do with it, but I was like, fine, you know, you actually are probably right. Turned out to be a mess. Okay, like I called it. I did. I called it for the wrong reasons because I was like, what if he slips and falls and sues us or something? Yeah, no, more like stealing money and not showing up. But just a fucking mess. And of course, I tried to love him for no reason other than being very attracted. And the thing is, once I started spending time with him, seeing on my shifts or whatever, I started seeing shit. And like I said, I mean, I started the tarot journey in 2012. So at that point, I had been doing it for 4 years. People respected my craft and my readings, you know. But I was not at this point, obviously. Oh, dude. You probably maybe have heard stories about him. Like I said, let's just not do names. We've completely lost contact. He may be dead. Who knows? Really bad with the drugs, right? Oh, no. My buttons. I almost knocked it off. Maybe he's sober. Who knows? Hey, let's speak life. Maybe he got clean and he's is cleaning up his life now, okay? Instead of thinking he's dead on the street. That's the thing. Send love to people who are suffering. That doesn't mean be there to love them and enable them, but send love where you can. So, homie was awful. And I was just like, I didn't know when we got entangled, but I started seeing visions, right? And we're both Italian, whatever. I'd never called him by his real name. I called him by his Italian name forever at that point. It was like to other people, I would say it, but when I talked to him, it would always be his Italian name because I had these past life visions. Like I had never at that point, I don't remember ever having a past life vision other than seeing people in my dreams, maybe, and then seeing them in real life or something. Um, but even at that point, I don't know if I had put two and two together yet for that aspect. So this may have been my actual first time ever connecting with a past life memory. And it wasn't pleasant. We were kind of like gangster 20s Italians and Chicago vibes, you know what I'm saying? And it's funny because I thought New York at the time, but just now I said Chicago. All day it was Chicago. And he was in the booth in his suits, shorts, same everything, you know, but a little older. And I was singing. I was wearing a red sequin dress, Monroe style hair, you know, so maybe it was a little later than the 20s, singing up in the, you know, and we were together from the time we were probably 16 or something until we were 26. And, you know, he was obviously running, he was always running with a rough crowd even before we were together. We grew up together, you know, and so it was one of those things that we stayed together. And he didn't shoot, he shot, I want to say he shot me, but he didn't, you know, they came in shooting at him and they shot me too. But I guess maybe he was shooting and someone moved or something. I don't know. I thought of us getting shot up together. But right now, when I was talking about it, I said he shot me. So, and it wasn't behind the back either. It was right in the stomach, right. I was facing him while I was singing. He always sat in that booth because he could see me. And everybody knew I was his girl and blah, 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 blah. But they came in guns blazing one day and got me in the stomach, and we both died. And so when I saw him in this life, I immediately knew, nah, bad news, you know? But I couldn't resist either way. It was short-winded romance, you know? Never anything super serious other than the very drama of addiction, right? Very serious nature, but not serious between us, you know? Um, and of course, my PNDD plays its toll where I would take things more seriously than I wanted to or needed to, without being able to look back a week later and be like, okay, those were hormonal attitudes. I could probably chill out, let that go, whatever. Um, but yeah, that was the first time I really had like a past life memory connection. It was something I'd always believed in, and maybe as a kid I had some that I don't remember specifically. Um, other than I don't know. When I was a kid, I was more aliens about to abduct my ass for some reason. Nobody in my family watched X-Files, but I was like convinced. I don't know where that came from. Other than like 90s culture was just like that, you know, especially Y2K turning point. Oh my god, everyone was into it. So, who's to say? But yeah, kind of flash forward, kind of had another past life connection come up. I've had some since, but there was one recent, and I think of it, I brought that one up because of there was no attraction at first, and this other one was like that too, where there was someone, it was the same thing. I don't like him. You shouldn't be friends with him. He's an asshole. I hate him. Okay, well, if you knew him, you probably wouldn't. Don't care. Fuck that, you know? He sucks. Blah blah blah, and all of a sudden for some reason you don't suck anymore, but then you do anyway. Whatever. It was a big past life tie with that one too, where it was like, oh god, I remember you. But it was such strange circumstances that even then there was probably very little attraction, just like there is now. And like you can grow to be attracted to someone, or I guess like you find your own feelings for someone to be attractive, and so you see them in a different way, I guess. Um, But even if there is no attraction, sometimes you just end up with people, I guess. And that's what this life. Okay, so we were talking gangsters in like the 30s. That was like a more recent life, one of my most recent lives, right? But I typically die young, I think. And that's why even in this life I was convinced I would be 27 club, but I guess I'm not rock and roll enough. Went wax and made it to 30. Cause I a couple summers ago I was with my godmother and she does the hypnosis past life regression. So like I've seen my life in the 60s was another one. I've seen me being a lion in the pride a long, long time ago. Um, so I've had a ton of past life visions since then. But some of those I would say like I probably seen nine to ten different lives doing the past life regression, different eras. 17th century Victorian, whatever. 60s protesting, blah, blah, blah. 1800s racist things, you know? I've seen a ton since then. But most recently, it was like, whoa, we went far back. Well, I guess I had a medieval one, but it was like dragons. It was very hard to say whether or not that was even real, but like it was very much felt real. I died as a baby in that one because it was a dragon that attacked a medieval village, and it's like, wait, when were dragons a thing? Like that wasn't a thing, and it's like maybe it was, maybe it was, maybe we were talking about it, remember it because it was there, and we just are like, nah, that couldn't be possible, and it's like, why not? Dinosaurs. Dragon is pretty much a dinosaur. Why is it so far fetched? Why is it so hard to believe? You don't want to conceptualize dinosaurs as sentient beings. How the fuck would we know? We were not fucking there. Kind of want to light some incense and we gotta run another ad already? It's been 20 minutes already? No. Can we stretch it to 30? We'll try to get by on the next 9. I'm gonna do whatever this is. Is this a super hit? No, it's not Champa. I burned so much Champa. Money, it's gas, right? I don't know. Keep your hands off my stick. Money, get away. Get a good job and make sure you're okay. A new car, caviar, something. Daydream about everything that we see. Okay, it's not my song. I clearly don't know virtually any of the words to that song. These incense are money though. I was like picking incense and I was like, no, not Nag Champa. Let's do this one. And then I started thinking about the Pink Floyd songs and I was like, yeah, we're gonna go with these. I didn't mean to rant so much that I got quiet in here. Damn. Did everybody fall asleep or were you just like intently listening? Soaking it all in, distracted, reading something. I appreciate the support, friends, that your views mean everything to me. But your boos mean nothing to me. Guess we're just going to talk about past life stuff. I'll continue. The most recent one. It was like 1562. It's like 1562. And I had been with a man who was much older than me, basically. He had built a cabin for him and his wife. His wife passed away young, so he lived in this cabin kind of outside of town, basically in the woods, alone. Because him and his wife were getting away, and then she passed, and he just stayed, and he lived there for 20 years by himself. And then when I was probably about, I wouldn't say I was even 30. I was probably pretty young, and I guess I was probably 19. I got ran out of town for being a witch, kind of thing. And so I come up in the woods on this cabin, and I was crying because I was a witch, but I was young and I was innocent just because of my natural gifts, whatever, probably necromancy back then. And I lived there. He wasn't always my husband when I got there. I was so young. It was awkward, but it was the two of us for decades, really, like a long time, not decades, but for a decade. So by the time I was a little bit older, we finally decided to, I guess, be together. I don't even know if we ever consummated the marriage, really, because he was pretty old. But obviously, it would become my home because we just lived there. It was just two of us. We lived off the land, and he took care of everything. And the winters were hard, and we managed. And we spent our time was in such good company. Lots of laughter, lots of talking, lots of understanding, lots of you know cuddling. I think, but it was a very beautiful connection. It was. Just so happened to be that way. A lonely man in the woods and a young girl excommunicated from the church, basically, because that's the way it was. 1553 or 1543, maybe. So he passed away, buried him myself somehow, lived there for a few years, and then 1962 rolled around. I think there was some kind of war, something going on where there was like invaders, and it was winter. It was winter of 1562, and it was like someone walking by, and it was just very rare. I hadn't seen anyone in years. Literally, I hadn't seen anyone in years. Um, not even sure how it could fathom a year going by, so maybe it felt like years, but I didn't have visitors. I had no connections. It was just me and this guy, this man, this old man, for a decade. And then he died. So it was like, what the fuck am I doing? I was in my 30s, whatever, alone in the woods. And I was content because I had no choice. I didn't want to keep going, especially not in the winter. I had a home, whatever. Because then this man is walking, it's winter, he's alone, he's all dressed up. It's almost like samurai. And I invited him in and he never laughed. He just stayed. And we couldn't even speak the same language. So it was like going from one relationship where it was nonstop talking and conversation and opinions and sharing and fulfillment, to the next was just brute. It was like we couldn't communicate with each other. It was like whatever. And I'd ask him stuff and I'd understand his answers. Maybe he knew a few words, but really it was a language barrier, like an actual language barrier. So it was very much silent. Hi. Hello. Telling a story about a past life, one that recently came up for me. There was some kind of language barrier, so we never talked, but eventually consummated and were married. And we both knew that we were married. I think he made us rings at one point, and that's how I knew we were married, because he couldn't outright propose or anything. There was no point. We weren't having a ceremony. We were literally isolated. So he kind of like strayed away from his troops, basically got fucked off in the woods, and just never wanted to go back. And I was alone, so I said, "Fuck it, stay," and that's just how it happened. But it was happy still somehow, even though we sat in silence for 8 years, something like that. Um, and then we got in our first fight after a really, really long time. A really long time, got in a bad fight. How? I don't know, because we couldn't even talk. But it was like everything we knew, how body language and how to read each other. It was like a very unique, developed connection that you just are forced, because there was no way for us to effectively teach each other's language, nor was there a point. I had my ear talked off. I didn't mind the silence, to be honest. Um, Came a day where it was springtime. We got in a fight, and he left. That was it. Never saw him again. Never saw him again. I just figured he left, right? This was 1562. He left in like 1569, past life. This isn't someone I've dated. So it was always one of those things where it was like, fuck him, I hate him, blah, blah, blah. That back then, and I lived in that cabin. I think eventually I did leave, or maybe I was pregnant or something, so I had a child. There was some connection where I had a connection in the other in the world where I must have been pregnant, um, and probably not realized it till he was gone. And of course, it was like, I'll never tell him, I guess, because there was no cell phones. It was 1562. Didn't know where he went. This, no. This was, no. I've done hypnosis, past life regression. My godmother does that. So I've done a number of sessions. It's funny, I brought that up actually like 20 minutes ago. This wasn't one of them. This is, I think I can connect easier having done the hypnosis a few times. I flip through about 3 to 4 lives every time I go under, and I've been under like at least 3 or 4 times, maybe more. I don't know. So maybe like 12 lives I've seen. I've learned some really cool lessons and seen a lot of stuff. I love it. I highly recommend it. But this was, I just remembered someone. I remembered. I don't know. It's something that's only happened a few times in my life to remember. And this was just the most recent time that I remembered somebody. So they leave summer of 69, probably 1569, and never came back. And I think as the necromancer, I didn't know I could talk to dead people. Like I said, I think I was pregnant, so I had a child, and like it was a bastard child, and I just said your dad left. Like I never said he was dead or whatever. I never knew if he was dead. But in that life, it's not that I was bitter. I think I got a third husband, to be honest. It makes sense, right? That I had one and then another and then the next. And I think maybe that's why I ended up leaving the cabin or something. I don't know what it was, but yeah, I got back out, went to the next town eventually. So yeah, he never came back, and I was like confused and hurt and angry and bitter, but once again moved on. And in this lifetime, I saw he fell. He wasn't gonna come back. That was the whole thing. It's like, nah, I had no intention of coming back. Would he have changed his mind? Maybe, but he died within the first 3 days of being out in the wilderness. He fell. It was springtime, so there was, the water levels are higher, and there's more bush, more leaves. It's more foliage is actually more distracting, where it looks more secure than it really is. Kind of fell through and down a waterfall and died. But I never knew that. No one found his body. No one knew he was out there. I didn't give a fuck. I wasn't going to go look for him. He left. But he was dead. So for the rest of my life, it was this message, probably because I could always talk to dead people. It was like, I'm coming back for you. And I was like, yeah, right. Prove it. I'll leave. I'm going to leave where I am. Because fuck you. You're not coming back. And that's because he was dead. And now looking at 500 years later. 2022, not 2222. 500 years later. I came back to leave again. Cheers. Stick to what you know. At the core of your being, when given a second chance to make the same decision, that's that then. But thank you for coming back to clarify that, yes, you're leaving. Great. Thank you. Love it. It's okay. We don't even speak the same language. And I think the funny thing is most of the time, I think when we connect with a past life, it's more often a karmic than anything, isn't it? I remember one of the past lives I had in my hypnosis regression was like someone in my life. I don't remember if I told her, so I don't want to say who it was, but someone in my life that I love a lot, but we have like a very different relationship in this realm. We were in love at some point. It was like maypole times. The dance with the ribbons, maypole? Is that what it's called? Mayflag? I don't know. That kind of era. Witchy vibes. But like lesbian witchy, because we were like two women in love, and our community of other bitches and queers supported us, and we lived amongst ourselves. And on our wedding day, we were wearing white and had our hair down, and the braids and the crowns, the flower crowns, was so beautiful. We had a lovely celebration, cakes and all sorts of stuff, and the ignorant people of the town crashed the wedding and killed everyone. And so in this life, I'm like, well, I guess for the sake of everyone, we might as well never do that again, right? I'm gonna run an ad and then maybe get back to some cards or take a longer break because it got a little quiet. I appreciate y'all's views. If you have any input, obviously, tell stories, whatever. I'm not trying to go as hard as I did last night, but also I started late, so if it's a quiet night, it is what it is. I will be right back in about 60 seconds, if not a little bit longer, just depending on the vibe in her. So, see ya. Alright, y'all. Since it's quiet night, I think I'll go back to these cards here, finish them up. We were gonna do the Salted Caramel Tarot, which is the Halloween Oracle, but honestly, I just have them sitting here, and maybe we're getting some channeled Oracle deceased messages, or I guess we talked about past lives, and I guess that would be the bridge connection with the angels and death crossing, where it's like the divinity and also the death process of being reborn again, right? Cool energy. I kind of like that combo. Maybe I'll start playing with the decks, crossing the decks like this more often. I would say that we talked these through thoroughly. Aquarius and evolution, moving on up in the world, becoming who you're meant to be, really. Gotta drop the shyness that sometimes comes with air signs, or even maybe the unevolved ones in a sense. There's different variations to everything, right? Your personal evolution is going to look different than everyone else's to an extent. You know what? I think every time I look at this card, who wouldn't think of that sweet, adorable song? We Only Have Tomorrow. Oh my God, so cute. When they see this, laughter, it's rainbow, come on, like of course I do. And so I think that when I see this is going to now be the reminder, like, yes, make sure that you have laughter. It is the world's greatest medicine. Make sure you keep it light and let your lessons be even comedic. But I think it is also to say we only have tomorrow, aka no day but today. Just to get it a little more gay in here. Okay. Hi. Really? Oh my God. Kind of like same. I'm glad. Yeah. Good. I was wondering what the deal was tonight. I was like, I guess I'll go. I'm gonna finish these up. Got so quiet, but I think everybody's in this weird mood of like not sure how to feel, being pulled in different directions would be a way. Except for me, I feel very centered in the way that I'm feeling, but my life feels like your moods, and I think everyone else's life is pretty grounded and stable and in routine, and mine is far from that. But my emotions are stable, grounded, and in routine, and other people are like, "What are those?" It gets tiring for me, but it gets tiring for them too. To have to compensate for my lack of professionalism, so to speak, but. I could totally see that. Vortexing. Dude, last night, I don't know if you were here for that. There was this whole thing about trinities and black holes and how they're like low key, not the same at all, but function in the same way. It was just like the coolest fucking thing, dude. Like, I don't even know how to explain it now. You'd have to go back and watch it in a sense, but it's like just like a black hole will suck you in and destroy all matter or take you to another dimension. It's like trinities will come upon you and will be a key to creation, and it's almost like a warp of a womb warp, like because the womb is where creation centers from, but it's for the vision, the mental pictures, and what you want to create in reality. And yeah, it really was. And I think that's the vibe from here on out. I am you being here from just the past couple months, right? Were you all, well, you just followed me, so I can't even check. You just came around like a month ago, but you just instantly, or you were there back in the day? I feel like I can't even remember. I feel like because your birthday was in August, you definitely came on here before August, so maybe the past 2 months. But y'all are watching. Thank you, by the way, ladies and gents. A dream, living in person, amazing. What's up, Doc? No, you're watching the transformation. It's been a long time coming. It's helped so much. Yeah. That's when I started streaming again. And took like a week-long break and then reset up and started streaming consistently after that. That's why I was like, it was definitely like this summer, but I couldn't remember if I was streaming in June. And you're right, I was using the table and it was a different wall and stuff like that. Yeah. Oh, golly, that's funny. I didn't realize I was having sound issues that long. Oh, because it was when I was staying with my cousin in June. Now it all makes sense. Thank you for helping me rebuild my timeline. I have a pretty good memory. It's even photographic, but sometimes it's just because I can recall something, I need to know consequentially when it happened. That's why I was like, yep, that makes sense. So yeah, you, among others, have given me a lot of confidence in myself and what I do in ways that are like, it's so magical, dude. I'm just in love. But not like with anything in particular, just like I am one who walks in love. Yeah. So many people got ragdolled, I would say. Little tramp that's gonna get you, little rag doll. He was probably, I think he's a pedo too. That song's probably about a teenage girl. It's so gross. Anyways, I think I have to have confidence in myself and recognize that, yeah, I have these gifts and I can attract the right people in my life and they'll get me and understand me and support me in the ways that I've found my niche on Twitch. And things, having found this sort of acceptance and rather than seeking validation, receiving affirmations, it's helped me grow as a person over the past few months, especially when I've done things in that time that I've never done before, like fall for something that you thought you would never fall for again, or fall for someone you promised that you wouldn't, or even, the album. I made music. Fuck. Lifelong Dreams. I don't give a fuck if it was shit. I loved it. I still love it. Do I listen to it? No, it's me. I'm singing all the time. I don't really need to play it back too often, but I sing it to myself in my head all the time. I'll play it. I'm not a total audiophile, but I do love music, so I have space for all special interests, obviously, where we wouldn't have talked about Mortal Kombat for 45 minutes. Your soul is mine. Dude, I don't know why this just tasted like Coney Island to me. R.I.P. to Tina's. Damn. This shit was so good. Oh my god. If you ever had a flashback, like good flashbacks though, are the best. And I'm not talking like obviously related to drugs, but having PTSD, I guess, and like a time of stress, but like a happy time of stress, if you will, like a stressful work environment, but like at least you like where you work. I don't know. That felt it felt like being in the fucking back, smoking a cigarette, but it's a blunt. It was just, oh man, it tasted perfect. That was beautiful. I really hope that everyone's good. I gotta check on someone. I'll be right back, you guys. Yeah, maybe. Oh, thank you. I just gotta check something really quick. No, I shouldn't check. I'm superstitious. I talk to necromancy though. I'm like, I don't like the thought, but I'm smoking, so let's just ignore it for a second. I'll find out in due time if it's true, and hopefully it isn't, because I love. Cool. Love that. So, back to these cards. Sagittarius is on top. We talked about that. Gemini. So, mutable energy. Gemini. Sagittarius. Fire and air. Masculine energies coming forward. Stepping up and being a man and realizing that it means something way different than what you were told that it means, and undoing some of the things that have been done to you so that you don't do them to others, basically. So simply said, but so hard to convince, because a man can never be told what to do, right? And if they are, oh, they're a simp. You guys are fucking idiots, honestly. Sower of seeds. Sower of seeds. All you want to do is fucking plant seeds in bitches and die. Then do that. Whatever. You want to have a bad attitude and then wonder why everything in your life is shit? You want to know why you have a fucking terrible time and horrible sleep? And it's like sower of fucking seeds, bro. Who am I even yelling at? Because it seems like anybody that I know is watching right now, I wouldn't feel this way about. So, whoever that fourth person is, you are getting reamed the fuck out. So sorry. Sower of seeds, though. You do it to yourself. And that's the true toxic masculinity. And that's why you're like, heart chakra activation, and then immediately met with anger. Isn't that funny? Where it's like, these were good cards. I was having a good reading, and it was almost like my confidence boosted, and the masculinity in me came out in the way of ego being competitive, even nosy, and kind of mean, right? Just now. Isn't that interesting how we had this moment of pure beauty and then instant change to fuck you, fuck this, fuck that? That's the drastic difference between the divine feminine energy and the divine masculine energy right now. And I trust what you tell me, Pico, but you being the masculine, like double masculine, from what I understand, because you're fire sign masculine and also male, from what I gather. Maybe you never really did distinct that. Maybe non-binary, I don't know, but still a masculine, especially because you're dealing with a Cancer, which is water feminine. So, like, you got the mask vibes. And I trust that you are doing as you say you are and feeling genuinely and not just talking out your ass. So maybe you're advanced, but the fact that this toxic masculine energy is coming up and you're the only one chatting with me makes me question what you're really doing behind closed doors, and if your money's where your mouth is, and if you're walking that talk, brother. That's really good. Maybe you're here to help teach them. Maybe you're my male perspective to back what I'm saying, because you do seem pretty evolved in that. And I'm sure you still have your toxic Leo tendencies, because who doesn't? And, like, obviously, there's so much truth in the recreation, but also can be so quickly abused. So you have to be careful of those things too. Obviously, my sweet, sweet darling. But you gotta stop worrying about it though, because if you just pour your worries into it, then that's what you'll cut back either to. That came out literally backwards, but that's okay. Like completely out of order. That was weird. But something and everything's been telling me, I've been hearing it over and over again, like, watch your thoughts, everything's manifesting right now, and blah, blah, blah. And I noticed it. It's even like my experience with the doctor the other day, which really pissed me the fuck off, but also I had my doubts walking in, and it was like, damn, did I manifest that like that? Because I still had high hopes. Not high hopes, but I was still hopeful and was like, I'm going to give her a genuine shot. Like, I'm going to be honest. I'm going to go in there. I'm going to speak up for myself. And then I got laughed out the door. And still no diagnosis, so kill me now, because Tyler Durden is going to try next month. It's cool though. I got it. Coping mechanism 101 with illuminated mindfuck. Just that being my new screen name. I actually really like it even more than Illuminati Mistakes. Just illuminated mindfuck. It's like the after hours version. Not that Illuminati Mistakes is really daytime to begin with, but you get super late and it starts to just get illuminated mindfuck. Goddamn, that's good. I'm clearly not going to forget it, but I still feel a need to write it down, you know what I mean? Because I'm buzzing. All those bugs buzzing around your head, will they fly in the air as you comb your hair? And the summertime will make you itch the mosquito bites. No, you wouldn't do that. You've already invested in it. Why would you do that? Illuminated Mindfuck. I love that. That'll be the book probably. So many ideas come up and you have no idea. I have such little time in my schedule because my body and brain check out for like 3 days on end every other week. And times behind on everything. But talking really speedlines the process. Talking about shit is like cool. Do I even have to write a book? Do I even have to write this down? I love writing, don't get me wrong. Obviously my poetry is beautiful. Should we pick a number, by the way? But goddamn, I feel like just saying it out loud is so much faster. You ain't gotta think. Words come out great, or they don't. You just try again. Here to talk it out. People build on it. You get a whole conversation. I love that aspect, and I've always been very shy about talking and speaking my mind. But like, goddamn, it's the writer's block has just even forced me into it, or maybe starting tarot is what gave me writer's block. It was like getting used to talking, not feeling like writing anymore. Although I still do love to do, personal notes. It seems like that's where I've been at for the past 5 months, especially because before I was like really trying to like cooperate in the human world and fix my life and do get like an everyday thing going on. Like that was my goal for like 2 years, was like, okay, I gotta like have a job and money and society and functioning member, blah blah blah. And then I was like, whoa, 10 years have gone by since such and such happened. Like, how am I feeling? I still want to fucking fuck, you know? I love that. But like, man, I'm not sure I ever had the wheel. And I think that's why everybody's been telling me like my fortune's been trying to arrive. And I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but there's no way you're going to convince me to drive. And they're like, stop running away. It's right here. And I'd be like, yeah, no, I doubt that. Swerve. Oh shit. And then all of a sudden I'm like trying to have control over it. And then now you're reminding me to let go of the wheel again. But now it's the understanding of what was and who I was, and now what am and what I am. Bam, Wheel of Fortune, yeah. Wheel of Fortune! Is that the right song? I'm thinking of the Nintendo 64 version of Wheel of Fortune, by the way, specifically. That was the intro. Didn't watch a ton of Wheel of Fortune, but it was always enjoyable. I do love that is a tarot card. It was a mainstream television show, network television show. It's interesting, right? Never really put two and two together till this moment. I'm really glad that you brought that up. I know you like brought it up in means of tarot, but it inspired me to sing it and then put two and two together. That's pretty crazy. Yeah, I always have been like, whatever comes to me will, and what is meant for me. And then like, I think in terms of romance, sometimes I want to be more hands-on because my Mercury and Venus are in Aries. So I'm like, I'm going to charge at this and go fast and just do it. And if I can't have it, I'm going to try again and then say, fuck it. Because at the end of the day, everyone's their own person. And my Aqua Moon is pretty understanding of that. And my Taurus ass is like, I don't even want to be with anyone anyways. And my Scorpio rising is like, I can be with literally whoever the fuck I want. Why do I care? So it's like, whatever. But, other than that, in terms of other areas in life, I feel like I've been like, Jesus, take the wheel, since I was in preschool, going to every morning. You know what I mean? So, is what it is. Okay, so what's up? Do we need time to sit with ourselves and be in our emotions? Should we wrap this up for the evening? It's been kind of a quiet night, but it's like very intimate now, and I wouldn't want to feel like I have abandoned anyone. So I will finish these cards. I've been saying that for probably 20 minutes. I do that sometimes, but I'll roll this ad and we'll check in again and see how we feel. If it stays quiet, the goal will be to finish the reading and get some extra sleep for ourselves. So we'll BRB. Hello again. I don't know why you say goodbye when I say hello. Hello, hello. Giver of Light. I do love this. It's like so sunny and bright. That's the thing. I may be wicked, I may be dark, I may be mysterious and evil in a Scorpio placement, but I am a giver of light. I'm a healer. I use all kinds of magic. I have so much power and find power in what be and utilize the world around me and incorporate science into my whole experience and especially mentality. So when I see giver of light, I step up and say, hell yeah, that's right. I am a giver of light. That's the mantra this week and this weekend. This very weekend mantra. Hell yeah, that's right. I'm a giver of light. Beautiful. Stupid as fuck. Go to a rave and just be like, yo, you illuminated mind fuck. Hell yeah, that's right. I'm the giver of light. MillyMilly.com. No, I'm kidding. I don't know. Universal healing. That's the thing. It's like, it's time to put that light to work, I guess. Using the mind. It's so funny. It's like, I really do wonder if I should share some of my meditations more and experiences, and it seems like finally people are like, duh, yeah, like we are trying to hear that. That's what we listen to your readings and stuff. And I'm trying to embrace that aspect because it's very new to me, where I think a lot of times people have listened to me talk about so many random things and so much all the time. Commitment. It's a commitment to even know me or to listen to anything I say, but I really do preach unity at the end of the day. So this new experience of like, I want to be heard. I feel like speaking, and I am wanted to be heard. That's a good feeling. I love that. So I must keep going. I must say what it is that I need to say. Right? Commitment. And this applies to you as well. I'm using it as a personal tale for an anecdotal example of how this might affect oneself, but also being vulnerable and sharing my personal experience because I blast people on this channel. My life's not perfect. I am struggles and suffering, as we know, for medical reasons and whatnot, but I have learned how to cope, and so I deal well, and I make it look easy. It's hard as hell. Who gives a fuck? Law of free will. People are going to do what they do. You will never be able to just will your way into someone or someone to you or away from you for that matter. Everyone has free will and they will choose what they choose. And while there is a law of attraction, it's not in this deck for a reason, right? It's not necessarily completely real because you can attract material, but to sit there and think that you can really have a person do a love spell, etc. You can have intentions and wishes, sure, but to think that you could have the control over someone who has free will, that's law. People will choose what they choose, and they choose what they feel. But if they choose not to feel, then they're not making very good decisions. Okay, so we got 3 face down and 1 face down, face up. I think universal wisdom. A lot of what I say probably is me listening to spirit for a long time. Like, that's what's been so interesting is for the past, I would say like year, I guess I've been analyzing not necessarily just my upbringing, but some of my beliefs being rooted in Catholicism especially. And so what I was saying last night, and I guess what is slowly coming as a realization, is that I grew up in necromancy by being told to pray to Jesus. He was a dead guy. So they gave me the gift of necromancy, being Catholic like that, and convincing me not just to pray to God, but to pray to Jesus, where it's like, you just watched me watch this man get slaughtered. What? And now you want me to talk to him? All right, what's up, Jesus? And so I feel like that's where a lot of my wisdom truly did come from. once again, Strega Nona definitely influenced, but I think that the power of necromancy was present for a long time, where it's like you don't learn these things in church. They teach you a very regimented version of what they want you to know as a means of control in Mass and church and the Bible. But the universal wisdom that Jesus experienced, being a free person, a free thinker, and a progressive individual, um, universal wisdom, I think, is something that I've always held on to from those times. So now it comes up again, and it feels like, yes, I'm here to deliver it. Of course I am. Aquarius moon. I'm sure Jesus had an Aquarius moon. Aries sun, Aquarius moon. I almost said Taurus rising, but I feel like no. Sagittarius rising, maybe? Libra rising. I could see Jesus being a Libra rising. That would kind of make a lot of sense. Yeah, probably Libra rising. That's why I said Taurus, Venus, but no, it's Libra. Okay. Virgo. Maybe he was a Virgo rising. Also beautiful. So either way, Jesus is cool, right? We love him. Mutable energy. There's 3 out of 4 that came up. And we got 3 more face down. So these 3, and then I'll probably dip out, y'all. Still hearing that damn song. We'll only have tomorrow. And something that's probably not appropriate, like song-wise. And I can't remember where it's from, so not even worth thinking. Law of limitation goes hand in hand with free will, where there is limits, and you have to understand that sometimes the law of limitation applies to the fact that you can impose a limit upon yourself, and that will restrict what you receive if you have your own limitations. But there's also the law of limitations to the effect of the law of free will, where there are limitations to what you can attract or manifest to yourself or in your life, because other people will never truly belong to you. So what else can you do? There are limitations. Whether you set them or whether you breach them, there are limitations to what you can and cannot have. But anyway, it's law of attraction. So you can, it is in this deck. That's so funny I said it wasn't. Law of attraction. All right, it's legit. I've always been, you're right though. Law of attraction is right here. Yes, there are limitations, but you can still attract things. And the difference between attracting and manifesting is that manifesting is trying to will something and visualizing and maybe even working towards it. But attracting is being what you need to be to have what you want. And so I think when it comes to abundance, that is a attraction, sort of. And when it comes to manifesting, it's more material, physical, monetary even. Wheel of Fortune is more manifesting. But you won't duly manifest if you aren't attracting what it is you're asking for. If you're like same old, but I really want this and I'm just not going to do anything to be the person who deserves it, but I just am going to keep asking for it and expecting it and wanting it and wondering why it's not working and cut my fucking hand until I literally am bleeding over an open fucking fire. What the fuck was that about? Okay. Doing what now? Interesting. Okay. That's sure, you can try to manifest it, but you're way out of your limitations there. Law of limitations. And free will, where it's if you're especially a person or even a job, because somebody is willing the hiring process, right? And still having to choose you. So you have to attract it. You have to like be what you need to be the person who has that. Because even if you're blocking it and limiting it yourself and imposing your own limitations, if you are far from living up to that standard, then of course it's not going to manifest. So it's got to be both simultaneously. It can't just be one effort or the other. Because you can attract, the law of attraction without manifestation, without a focus, is like gosh, you can have abundance, but it's like, where's this going and what are you doing with it and where's it coming from and how did you get it? And you're like, I don't know, I just kind of blah, blah, blah. It's better to have a clear picture in mind and have the life you want instead of just looking around and being like, what is all this though? How did I get all this and what was I going for? You know, it's balancing attraction and manifestation. That's so cool. I never really thought about that until right now. And law of life. I love that we got triple laws. Law of life. Life will be life regardless of how you want life to be. Life will be life regardless of how you want life to be. Life will be life regardless of how you want life to be. Life will be life regardless of how you want life to be. Beautiful. I love that. Everything that's going to happen is going to happen. Anything that can happen might happen. And anything you make happen will definitely happen. Period. That's the law of life. So I guess that was beautiful, right? I mean, that was like really beautiful. I think I would love to end it on a high note. I guess that was awesome. It is what it is definitely a much simpler, much shorter way of describing everything I just said. I agree. Yes. But, whoa, this is Healer Within. Whoa, there's a few face up. Where did these just come from? What the fuck? Oh, oopsies. Okay, I guess we'll take all of those and put the deck back right. Bottom of the deck, Guardian Angel. Love to see it. Underneath, Guardian Angel. Scorpio. I know you fell asleep, but Scorpio energy underneath there, so we love to see it. And Scorpio season going to be good to us. Sower of Seeds, we are ready. Let's see what these face-up ones that got cut up were. Capricorn, top of the deck. So once again, by Capricorn season, we are going to be where we need to be, and right behind Capricorn is Taurus, okay? By Taurus season, it's going to be full-blown happening, and I love not only God, I'm not going to get into that, obviously, but Capricorn and Taurus as a pairing, love to see that. Earth energy showing up, also love to see that. The timeline of life, Capricorn season being transitional, new year, blah, blah, blah. Taurus season being rebirth right after Aries, you know, April. Love it. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Right here. Beautiful energy. Connecting. I mean, grounding, you know. Golden rule. That's kind of what we were saying. It is what it is. That's the golden rule of the evening. I liked it better when I said it. Life will be what it is meant to be, or whatever the fuck I said. I don't know. What did I repeat like 600 times? Who knows? Golden rule. It is what it is. I think what is meant to be will always be, and what is going to happen is going to happen, and what you get is what you get, right? Because what you go out and get is what you get. What you work for is what you receive. What you get is what you get. It's not supposed to be what I dish out is what you accept. It's what you give is what you get. So, yeah, I like that. Golden ruling. Healer within. Doing it alone. Doing it on your own. That's sort of the twin flame journey, like we said, is like, yeah, it's isolating, it's lonely, it's hard, and most people give up before they get to the gold. Because it's like, fuck, it's not even worth it. I need a hand to hold. I need support right now. I need someone to love me through this. And that's fine. That's not a big deal. That happens. It's not like you're not a weaker person for it just because you're like, I've thought about it and actually I'd prefer my life to be easier. And that's part of the beauty of life, is be accepting happiness where it comes. And having soulmates along the way that satisfy you enough to not have some soul craving for some higher, more fucked up and somewhat torturous, if not completely cruel connection to long for and to bend over inside out, pretzel yourself to. Because it's tough to heal within. A lot of people need to heal without. But healer within, it's a powerful connection, I see that. Of course I see that. Of course, obviously. Who doesn't? Everyone sees that, right? and universal love. It's a lesson in love. It's the teaching of love. It's the core of love. It's the frequency of love that we've been talking about over and over again, and how we can produce it for other people and get that vibe up to make us the valuable, commodized humans we need to be in order to sustain on this planet without somebody invading it. Okay, whatever. We did alien channels this week. If you want to intersect the two timelines, fine, do it. That's on me. I am just saying what comes to mind. I was far from putting that in that way. And I know I did it. And that was the whole point, was spilling tea. So Libra season, please restrain yourself before you come at me. And there's just one thing, then I'll be okay. I need a miracle every day. Universal universal truth is that the truth will set you free. Beautiful energy. Rolling one more ad for the evening. Coming back to a number. Pick a number for some poetry to close us out. 1 through 22. And if we've already picked it, we've already done 1, 11, 22. Pick a number and I'll know if we read it. So we'll be back in 60 seconds. All right, so we're back for the last leg of the evening. 222ing in a moment here. Thanks for sticking it out with me, queers. Kidding. I mean, I'm queer, so like I wish that queer people were watching my shit and being queer with me. But I'm pretty much the token queer kid among a bunch of straight people. I know a lot of bisexual girls, but they're like chronically straight relationship kind of bisexual girls who genuinely do love other girls, but also just are more like would rather have both type, it seems. And sometimes have relationships with women, but ultimately seem to end up with men. So very straight vibes. It's just where I'm from, you know. So I'm like the token queer kid. And it took a lot for me to realize and accept that position in life. It's pretty funny. So pick a number and we'll go. We'll read a little poetry from the book. And we will have a little last look. We'll do 14 and look at the time is 2 hours, 22 minutes, and 22 seconds with 2 viewers. So that is so many twos. I'm going to read 2 and 14 because 2 is really short and 14 isn't, but it was 222 in that moment. So also 2. Maybe 2 is actually really cute and fun, so we'll do 14 and then 2. Yeah. So number 14 is The Dirt of Earth, and number 2 is How to Roll with the Punches and Not Get Hit. All right, so number 14. It's long, it's prose. I guess it's only a page. Oh, it's only 1 page. Thank God, because I remember this one, and it's very angry. Of course, once again, unchecked PMDD. No idea what it was. This one I opened with a quote. As all teenagers know, impotent hatred is the most horrible of all emotions. One should hate nobody whom one cannot destroy. Sebastian Horsley, 1962 to 2010. And now it's me. You are the dirt to me. I kneeled in the grass, hammer in hand, rage hidden by overalls. I destroyed the ground beneath me. I mangled the earth. I raised the weapon countless times and came thrusting into the dirt. I pounded as hard as my heart. I was nearly empty. With what little anything I had left in me, I put the metal in the sky and came rushing into the filth. I just thought you would always be there. Always. I thought you knew me better than them. I thought you knew better than everyone. I guess you knew as little as anyone. I would feel sad if you were the only one to make me feel this way, but you aren't. You are the last to do it, and the only one I never thought would. You are the one I would always have, but you have disappeared. When they left, I thought you were still here. You are nowhere to be found. When they left, I cried. Now I have no more tears. You let me down. You let me go. All I feel is fury. This is why I don't trust people. I don't know why I made you an exception. I guess things change, people change, and you've changed. Well, you know what? Fuck you. When you say I hope I never see you again, don't expect me to be nice. I mean it. I need to be angry. Even if it's my own fault, I have to be angry. I must feel this rage. I need to take that hammer and go somewhere I cannot break things. I need to find dirt to smash, or I swear it will be you. Even if you aren't the one I should be mad at, you've become the dirt. Looking at you makes me sick. I'm okay with empathy, but I was never looking for sympathy. I can't feel sadness anymore, and I like to feel, so I'm pissed off. Maybe I can help it, but I don't want to. You always knew what had hold of me. You knew and still ran like the rest of them. You didn't run like them, you ran with them. No amount of hope can solidify a promise. My heart cannot be broken anymore. It is freezing, it is solid and shrinking. The most we could ever be is mud. Ice cold, damn. It was still pretty good. I remember a longer version of this. I didn't realize it was only a page, and I'm really glad. And it's crazy how this I wrote. I remember who this is about. It was the same. Remember the other day I was in the notebook from high school? Yeah, I know. I told you it would be a doozy. And I said I had written down text messages from someone. This is about the same person. So, like a page full of loving text messages, beautiful words, um, to this, where it was like, wow, abandoned in the last second, I see. And I remember, and we made up in a way. We were never close again, but definitely like stopped holding all of this anger against him. Like no hard feelings now, but at the time it really hurt, and I remember exactly how it went down. And it's crazy how even though I had no idea what PMDD was, even though I was clearly affected by it, and even though I allowed myself to just lean into rage and act like Tyler Durden openly, I still had ways of coping. This is a true story. This is like it's prose, it's poetic writing, but it's nonfiction. I really did used to just carry around a hammer, and I would, if I was really mad, which like Tyler Durden premenstrual dysphoria rage, perfect time where I would just like take the hammer and take all my anger out on in an open field at the park or something in the middle of the night instead of like breaking my shit or trying to off myself, right? So even though I had no idea what I was dealing with, I had a decent way of coping. And even though I was taking my anger out on someone, I checked myself. Even in the fucking in this page, let alone at the time where I said, okay, he's probably not the one I'm mad at, but I'm still gonna just allow myself to be mad because I need to be mad. And so even if I couldn't handle that big of a procession at 19 where I could process that or understand where the villain was or who the villain was or why I was doing it, I could at least be self-aware enough to recognize that it was probably displaced and my fault at the end of the day. That's impressive, especially for a 19-year-old on drugs, literally. God, fuck me, right? Okay, so what was the one I chose? Also two. How to roll with the punches and not get hit. This one's short and sweet and kind of cute, funny. That's why it's at the beginning. It just leads into intensity. The last one's about death, but I already read it, so no spoilers, right? Life is a death sentence. Here's how I equate it. When you must but shouldn't, snake it. When you got it steady, shake it. When you make a mess, rake it. When you hear them hate, mistake it. When you hold a grudge, forsake it. When you think creative, make it. When you get slapped, take it. Make death a life sentence. When you get lemons squeezed in your eyes, ask for cookie dough. That way you can bake it. Very drastic difference, but common theme of like death and endings and stuff, right? It's really crazy to look back. I love this poetry book, and I still think overall it's pretty fucking good, but it's intense, and I didn't realize how dark it was until like now, rereading it out loud in front of people. I'm like, holy fuck, that's dark. But y'all been loving it, and I appreciate that. Thank you for understanding me as a poet and a person. Last beat Dick in America for a reason. Hopefully get Ken Kesey. Is it his birthday right now? He's a Virgo. He's a September Virgo. No, maybe he was August, but it's Virgo season. Could I get Ken Kesey to show up maybe tomorrow? September 17th. Holy fucking ballsack. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. I'm so good at that. Even in people in my own life, not just random birthdays I looked up, texted my cousin and was like, yo, it's Capricorn season's almost over. When's our aunt's birthday? And she was like, fuck, dude. I don't remember. I'm gonna text her today and just wish her happy birthday. It was her motherfucking birthday that day. Like, I didn't know. I still don't remember what day it was. It was just amazing. So Ken Kesey for your birthday tomorrow, maybe? So that would be Saturday. I'm gonna be at the event. Well, tomorrow after midnight, though. Ken Kesey, the date? That'd be amazing. Merry Prank Me. Oh, Halloween at Oracle tomorrow night with Ken Kesey. I am going to call it for this evening. I will probably roll out with one more ad. Why not? You know what I mean. I'm fit it in, and then I'm just going to, while I'm gone. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for the support. Thank you for the love. Thank you for the awesome conversation. Thank you for keeping up, staying up, living it up with me. I am so grateful to be here doing the things that I love to do, and to be accepted and appreciated and even compensated for it means more to me than maybe most will ever understand. So I love you. Good night. Good luck. And see you in the AM, PM. Sweet dreams, babies. Tune in tomorrow for Ken Kesey's birthday. I'm gonna do my best to be a merry prankster. See y'all. Good night. Good night. Sweet dreams. End stream.